Initially, valedictorian Paxton Smith had planned to talk about TV and the media in her high school graduation speech. You know, as valedictorian, she gets to give a speech, but she decided to move away from that topic and pivot to something that actually has some pretty significant consequences for women living in the state of Texas. And that's the restrictive abortion law that was just passed. So let's hear from Paxton Smith and what she had to say about it.
Recently, the heartbeat bill was passed in Texas. Starting in September, there will be a ban on abortions after 6 weeks of pregnancy, regardless of whether the pregnancy was a result of rape or incest. 6 weeks. That's all women get. And so before they realize, most of them don't realize that they're pregnant by 6 weeks. So before they have a chance to decide if they are emotionally, physically, and financially stable enough to carry out a full-term pregnancy, before they have the chance to decide if they can take on the responsibility of bringing another human being into the world, that decision is made for them by a stranger. A decision that will affect the rest of their lives is made by a stranger. I have dreams and hopes and ambitions. Every girl graduating today does. And we have spent our entire lives working towards our future. And without our input and without our consent, our control over that future has been stripped away from us. I am terrified that if my contraceptives fail, I am terrified that if I am raped, then my hopes and aspirations and dreams and efforts for my future will no longer matter. I hope that you can feel how gut-wrenching that is. I hope you can feel how dehumanizing it is to have the autonomy over your own body taken away from you.
Man, that gave me goosebumps. That was incredible. Woz, you know, you're someone who supports people who, fight for what they believe. And this woman clearly did that by literally switching the script to give a speech on something important to her. I love it.
Yeah, the abortion issue is kind of hard for me to talk about because I find it's not intellectually stimulating. The other side doesn't have a point. They don't have an argument. They're just being shameful, rude, crude. They're just being disgusting. There's no other way to frame it. And for this young woman to put it in plain terms, like you're dehumanizing me, sir. You're dehumanizing me, and it's just like as a man, the idea that a bunch of dudes would sit up there and be like, nah, I don't think she should have an abortion of strangers, much less somebody you're actually close to, much less your own significant other or daughter or whatever. Like the idea that you should be able to weigh in on how a woman decides to carry on the business of her body and her life is just absurd for me. I don't really have anything eloquent to say. This is so obvious and plain to me. The evilness of all of this is it's hard for me to speak on it, to be real.
I think everything that you just said is so on point. And what's very clear to me is that not only does the right wing fail to bring a decent argument to the table, the one argument they do bring to the table, this nonsense about God and the importance of protecting life. Did they believe in the importance of protecting life in the state of Texas when the pandemic was at its worst phase and the governor and lieutenant governor both were pushing to prematurely open businesses so their stock portfolios would be okay, putting workers' lives at risk with this virus, the coronavirus? They don't care about lives. It's about controlling people. It's about telling women what they can and can't do with their bodies. It's about going back to this ridiculous 1960s, 1950s pipe dream that they have when things were so great, when specific people from White men, let's keep it real, got to control everything. They don't like the fact that women get to control their bodies, their economic fate, and all of that. They hate it, they can't stand it. And the school is upset, Lake Highlands High School, they're like, we're gonna make sure that this never happens again. Yeah, go ahead and try it. But people are gonna rise up and they're gonna fight for what they believe.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.